Hey, Annie Purdue-Olson here, and if any of you know anything about me, you know that I'm Myers-Briggs certified, and I love to get into assessments, StrengthsFinder, strong interest inventory. All this stuff is really fun to me, and I love assessments. But what I'm wondering today is if you've got an assessment in your drawer somewhere just collecting dust. You know, you took that StrengthsFinder, or now Clifton Strengths, a while back, or you got that old Myers-Briggs report sitting in a drawer and you've not done anything with it. I'd like to take just a few minutes of your time and talk about the power of assessments, because assessments are powerful tools that can help create awareness. They can offer tangible next steps that can help us accelerate our leadership, and they can inspire people to work better together. And that's why I love assessment tools. But they're just that. They're tools. And there's some do's and some don'ts around using assessments, because while assessments can be a shortcut to help us understand ourselves and understand others, they can never be a substitute for conversation. So I'd like to talk with you about 3 things that you can do to help you really unpack that assessment that might be collecting dust in that drawer, and 3 things not to do with assessments. First of all, with that assessment, pull that report out and underline everything in the report that resembles you, things that connect to you and that make sense to you. Then I want you to take the time to talk with someone about it. Because what's amazing is sometimes people can see in us what we can't see in ourselves. So let somebody else notice the brilliance that they've seen at work in you. Collect stories from them about how you have been brilliant in your life. And that's the way to really unpack what that assessment is saying. The third thing is take action, because awareness is not enough. We also need to be able to act on it. So if we simply take the report and file it in the drawer, that's where it lands. It never really changes anything. It's not a powerful tool when we do that. What makes it powerful is deciding 1 or 2 things that you're going to do differently based on what you learned in that assessment. Maybe it's rewriting your resume based on what you figured out about yourself. Maybe it's having a conversation with your manager or your leader saying, hey, here's what I learned about myself, and here's what I'd like to do differently in my job as a result of what I've learned. Maybe it's grabbing your team and saying, I want to lead this team in a different way because of what I learned as a result of this assessment. Something that you can do differently as a result of what you've learned. Now that will make an assessment powerful, but that power can also be really diffused when assessments are not used well. So I've got 3 don'ts for you too. One thing that you got to remember is don't stereotype. Every assessment that you use, no matter which one it is that you use, puts people into categories to help us make quick sense of how we operate and the way we do things and the way we're motivated and the way we think. And because it does everything in categories, it makes it really easy to stereotype people and say, well, because you're this way, that's why you do this. And every time we stereotype someone like that, we are missing out on something really powerful. We're missing out on conversation, because that's where the power really is asking questions. So don't assume, ask questions about assessments. Second thing is don't use an assessment as an excuse. Assessments can never be an excuse for behavior. Sometimes it's easy to say, well, I'm not good at that, therefore I don't want to have to do that, or I don't want to do it. It doesn't energize me. Totally true, totally get it. But in order to succeed in life, sometimes we have to do hard things. Sometimes we have to do the things that don't come easy. So never let an assessment be an excuse for why you don't do the hard thing. Go for it. Buckle down and make it happen, even when it's hard. Partner with somebody who knows how to do it better than you. Go take a class, learn a skill. Make it easier on yourself, but don't ever let it be an excuse. And the third and final don't is don't weaponize an assessment. Oh, it's easy to do. Oh, well, that type of person doesn't do conflict well, or that personality can never be a leader. Anytime we put people into categories like that, or we make a can't out of our assessment, what we're doing is weaponizing that and saying, okay, this person can't do it. An assessment should always enhance what we can do. Never, never, never distract us or disqualify us from what we can do. So those are my 3 do's and 3 don'ts of using assessments. Grab my blog. There's a link in the description of this video that you can check out my blog where I talk a little bit more about this. And also, I would love to learn what assessments you love. What has worked for you and why has it worked for you? So drop a comment in with this video. I would love to know what assessments have worked for you. Thanks for joining me.